Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Emily.
And we're the hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast. Each episode, we discuss a different story, theory, or mystery and decide if we think it's believable or if we really don't think so.
Here at the I Don't Think So podcast, we are affiliated with Flurry Sports, and we present our podcast on your favorite place to listen to them every single Wednesday. If you like what you hear, go ahead, like, share, and go ahead and follow us on X, Threads, Instagram at I Don't Think So _EH. Or check us out on YouTube at IDTS Conspiracies.
Woo! We're on week 2 of our mystery.
Oh.
And I was a little excited for this one because I actually came across an update on it on TikTok.
I love updates.
So, you've probably heard of this mystery before, but I'd like to know what you already knew about it. So today we're going to be discussing the mystery of the disappearance of Amelia Earhart.
Not a ton.
Perfect.
I know she was like flying over some ocean.
Yep.
And went missing decades ago.
Yep.
And we really hadn't found her. And then I think I saw on TikTok that they think they maybe found her.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see something at one point that people think she got eaten by crabs.
Yeah, so there's lots of different theories as to like what potentially could have happened to her. But Earhart is famous for being the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. And she also set like a bunch of other records, and she was one of the first aviators to promote like commercial air travel. She wrote tons of books about her flying experiences, and she also helped with the formation of the 99s, which is like an organization of female pilots.
Oh, Queen Amelia.
So she was born July 24th, 1897 in Kansas.
18. Sorry, my brain heard 18. My ears heard 18. My brain went 19, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?"
Yeah, 1847 she was born.
1847 or 97?
1897.
I was like 40.
July 24th, 1897.
Does that make her a Cancer?
Yeah.
Queen.
Same. In Kansas. And she actually moved to Iowa, Des Moines. And that's where she kind of was introduced to flying in her early 20s. And in 1928, she actually became the first female passenger to cross the Atlantic in an airplane.
Wow. Later,
she became famous then for being the first female pilot to cross the Atlantic. And in 1932, she made like the first nonstop solo transatlantic flight, being the first woman to achieve this. And she was received the United States Distinguished Flying Cross for this accomplishment.
Wow.
She later attended Purdue University for aeronautical engineering and female career counseling. And she did a lot for like the women's suffrage movement, things like that. Finally, what kind of led to her disappearance, she was attempting to become the first woman to complete a circumnavigational flight, so like all the way around the world.
Jesus.
In 1937, and it was actually funded in a Purdue-funded like Lockheed Model 10E Electrica, which is like the type of plane. So Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan disappeared over the central Pacific Ocean near what they believe is like Howland Island. The two were last seen in Lae, New Guinea on July 2nd, 1937, and on the last stop before Howland Island, and one of their final legs of the flight, actually. It's generally presumed that she and Noonan died somewhere in the Pacific during the circumnavigation, just 3 weeks before her 40th birthday.
Oh, bummer.
Nearly 1 year and 6 months later, after she and Noonan disappeared, Earhart was officially declared dead. But investigations and public interest can still continue to this day.
Oh, I can't imagine living at that point in time where like it's this huge spectacle of this like person
Mm-hmm.
creating, like doing. Sorry, that was not a sentence. Creating, doing,
Living,
loving, inspiring youth. But like having this really massive story of like breaking records and being a huge public figure. Like think about, I don't even know, like a public figure, a celebrity of today.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Morgan Freeman just went missing,
People would be freaked out.
everyone would be like, we've got to find him. And like, we will.
Right.
You know? So that's crazy.
Yeah. So decades after her presumed death, she was inducted into the National Aviation Hall of Fame in 1968
Mhm.
and the National Women's Hall of Fame in 1937.
Sorry.
And
Women have a Hall of Fame?
apparently,
Just women?
National Women's Hall of Fame. Let's do a little research on that.
Research on the fly.
An American institution founded to honor and recognize women. It was incorporated in 1969 in Seneca Falls, New York.
Oh.
And she was part of the first inducted honorees because that was in 1973. And as of 2021, it has 303 inductees.
Huh.
So let's see if I know anyone else.
The more you know. I feel like you'll know more. I feel like you have to.
Well, the first few: Maya Angelou,
Isn't it like Susan B. Anthony's got to be in there?
Lucille Ball. Like,
Oh,
I Love Lucy?
love Lucy. Susan B. Anthony's got to be in there somewhere.
Um,
I think you went past her. I saw Miss Anthony on there. It's also
Where?
by Scroll.
oh yeah, Susan B. Anthony.
Hmm.
I didn't realize they're alphabetical. I was looking at first names.
You're like, Susan.
I probably could just go by last names.
Sarah Bush. Is that what I see? No. Sorry.
Buck. Pearl S. Buck.
No clue. I'm sure
know-
she's wonderful because she's in it. Dorothy
Trying to
Day.
see. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone fun.
Betty Ford.
Betty Ford. So fun.
Is that like President Ford's wife?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. Helen Keller.
Well, that doesn't shock me in the slightest. Can you imagine if she didn't get in? That'd be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad. I was trying to see if like Betty White or somebody is in here.
If she isn't, she should be. That woman's a cool lady. Was.
Harriet Tubman.
Good.
What? Like, I wonder if there's just like a certain age. Oprah Winfrey.
Oh.
I don't see Betty White.
Oh. Excuse you. It's like Mother Teresa in there? Is that under T or M?
I don't know. There's lots of interesting folks. You should check it out sometime, but not
Good
today.
to know. All right.
Anywho, and they're just saying like they've done a lot to honor her and things like that.
Got it.
But moving into her disappearance, a lot of people speculate of different islands that she potentially could have landed on. But again, they were thinking somewhere close to Howland Island, but there's lots of different islands within this region that they think she potentially could have landed on. So there's a few theories about what potentially could have happened. One think there's like the crash and sink theory that they ran out of fuel searching for Howland Island because that was supposed to be a fuel stop for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were ditched at sea and then somehow died. The plane would have carried enough fuel to reach Howland Island with some extra spare. But if they were hitting like headwinds and things like that, they could have used more fuel than they thought. And again, they never actually found the plane wreckage as of recently.
Right.
And so they couldn't really tell what could have happened. The one that I just heard recently is the Gardner Island hypothesis. So Gardner Island, also under other names, is very close to Howland Island, and it's actually en route of like the passageway that she was taking.
Okay.
So they're saying if they couldn't land on Howland Island, maybe they tried to land on Gardner Island. And they figured if they were unable to find Howland Island, they would have tried to not waste time searching for it and instead turn south to look for other islands. What I didn't realize was after she went missing and they lost signal for her, they asked anyone with like radio capabilities to listen, to tune into the station that she was like trying to navigate through. And this is where the TikTok I found really interesting was. So they ended up trying to search Gardner Island because there's like a bunch of different documented reports from people from all over the world, like in Canada and places throughout the United States and all over the place, of people receiving like radio messages through like Morse code and things like that, of them trying to reach people and like trying to give coordinates and things like that.
That's scary.
And so when they disappeared, they sent out like Navy planes and ships, and it searched Gardner Island, but they didn't find any sort of like wreckage or anything at that point. But what they've researched recently is that there was like a pattern to these messages that people were receiving. And as they looked back on it, excuse me, it was following like the tide patterns. So what people think might have happened is that the plane somehow got stuck partially in the water. And because you needed to have the battery turned on to start the plane, as well as use the radio, they couldn't have it on while it was in the water on high tide.
Okay.
So they're following like the low tide patterns to be able to then send out different messages and things like that. They ended up finding bones on Gardner Island in the later 1940s. And some people state that they're very small. Others are saying they're bones more of like a man.
Oh.
And so they...
But the navigator was lost too.
Yes.
Who's a man.
And so they ended up like they kept the bones, but they threw away all of the like documented tests on the bones.
Why?
And now they've been trying to do more tests on them to see if they think it might be hers. So this kind of leads us into the discovery more recently.
Was she a big woman? Like what
She was very tall. So people thought that she might have been her. So now, as of January 29th, 2024. So this is very recent. They believe that they might have found wreckage of Amelia Earhart's plane on grainy like sonar image around Gardner Island. So
that gives me goosebumps.
There's been a release of like different news headlines around the world saying that they possibly have discovered Earhart's plane, the Lockheed Electra 10E, that she was flying in 1937. And they're doing like different deep sea vision ventures to look at this wreckage under the water. And National Geographic just kind of came out with an article stating like, yes, this might be it. They're still doing tests on it, but it's kind of too soon to say whether this plane is actually the one. And it's 16,000 feet deep, which means like it takes a lot to get down there and research it. So this is some of the reasons why they think it might not be her plane on the edge of Gardner Island. First is that sonar images have some limitations. So while they're doing these different measurements of this plane, it might not be actually accurate. Here's a picture of it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like very grainy. I'll post it on our Instagram and Threads and Twitter, X, whatever. But it is interesting. Like you can see like the wings.
It looks like a plane.
It looks like a plane, but you can't necessarily get like
it looks like a plane if I like had you remember light brights or whatever the hell. Yeah. It looks like that, and then I took my contacts out and sat really far away from it.
Yes. And it's like, again, it's under 16,000 feet underwater, so it's like not great imaging.
No.
Deep sea vision didn't confirm the object's identity. It's just like they're posting it saying like, maybe we think
could be
this is what's happened. Some experts say say the plane, if it is the plane, doesn't resemble her plane because the proportions aren't quite right. But again, the image is distorted.
Well, the image is distorted. It's been under 1,600 feet of water for
almost 100 years.
Decades and decades.
Another
and
reason,
it crashed. Sorry.
Right. Another reason why they say it might not be it is that the object's location is roughly on Earhart's flight path, but beyond the range suggested by her radio signals. To which I say they think that she might have gotten lost in navigation, so she might have been giving coordinates
that weren't
necessarily accurate, but that's fine. And then
fucking navigators.
Again, other people claim that they've solved the mystery, saying that they have proof. For example, some people believe that the Japanese captured and killed the aviators and have pointed to different things such as like generators received in the Saipan Harbor in 1960 to a photograph on Juliet Dock revealed in 2017. Others have claimed various smoking guns over the years, but again, no one really has a true idea of what potentially happened to her.
Right.
The simplest explanation most scientists and historians believe is that she crashed into the ocean and wasn't captured by like Japan or things like that. But again, it's still hard to solve. So as we continue to hear more updates and research, we might see some more glimpses into the past. But do you have any ideas of what you think might have happened to Amelia Earhart?
Genuinely, I was never, because I think there was a few different theories of like conspiracies of her just like wanting a different life. And so she landed somewhere and like went and lived on. I don't think that's what happened. To me, I'm like, I think she got lost.
Yeah.
Something happened. She hit high winds and just put her in the ocean. I think I heard a fact, and I might mess it up now. I think we've only discovered like less than 1% of all shipwrecks.
That's insane.
So think about how many fucking ships are down there.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it is just, the ocean is so big and so deep and so much is going on.
We always circle back
to how much I hate the ocean.
I know. The ocean is big.
The ocean's big and large and deep, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, I think she put it in the water. Everyone died kind of instantly and whatnot. But it is weird that there's like Morse code and stuff being sent out. And that there's
and they did have radio like signals from her. I genuinely think she got like what do you say, marooned or whatever? On some sort of island and died. And then the animals probably got to her and there's nothing left. Which is sad, but like I think probably what happened.
Yeah, and I think it could be her plane, it might not be her plane. But to think that like someone else died on this island from something
plane is like odd.
Or just like, what happened? How'd you get there?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Islands are weird. The ocean's weird.
Also, I feel like with how much like technology we have now, that we can't like better like research the ocean is like odd to me. Like to me, you know what the conspiracy theory I think it is? I think they know so much more. They're just not telling us.
Probably. I don't want to know. I hate to break it to you. I hate the ocean, and I remember I did a spring break trip and I got a chance to swim in the Indian Ocean, and I was like, I have to, because it would be stupid not to. I had a panic attack in the water. And I was like, yeah, like, isn't it so beautiful being connected to nature? And I was like, something's gonna get me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big like more of a pool girl.
I get scared of the pools. I make up a lie in my head that they somehow a shark got in. I'm doing the backstroke and it's going to be the end for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Interesting.
Not that I can really do the backstroke without.
Really?
My butt sinks. I can't back float.
Really?
Literally, Hannah, I'm a natural sinker. My butt goes down and then
I push your hips up.
I've tried. I don't know what to tell you. I've tried in pools. I've tried in the ocean. I've tried everywhere. My butt sinks and then I just torpedo to the bottom. I'm flat and then my butt starts to go. And then as soon as my butt starts to go, my feet kind of follow. And then suddenly I'm vertical and needle diving down.
Yeah.
So I have to tread water. And then I get tired. Makes me think of water polo back when we like had to play swim.
You know how like when we were kids and did like Miss Simpson or Miss White ever tell you like, Oh, like if you ever get stranded in the ocean, your body just knows how to tread water. Like you'll just be able to it's all a mental game of like we're making you tread water because it was for like a swim test, you'd have to tread water for what, like 5 to 10 minutes or
something like that.
Like I think I got higher as you get older, and they're like, yeah, you could tread water for like an hour, but your brain just like tells you can't because right now you're thinking like the wall's right there, I could save myself. But like if it was life or death, your body would tread water for that much longer. I don't think that's true. Like I don't think I could actually do that.
So you would tread water until you pass out?
I guess.
Get up. What if I get a Charlie horse?
I don't know.
15 minutes in, I'm done. Also, I have said it once and I'll say it again. If I'm like flying over the ocean and the plane goes down, all of you need to pray I died in the crash. I died instantly. If I'm still living and I'm in the middle of the fucking ocean, I'm breathing in water. I can't. That is my worst nightmare. Someone would have to knock me out. Like someone would have to punch me in the face because I would be inconsolable. Like I would be the person that they're like, you're not helping the situation. I'd be like, I know.
Fully aware.
I know. I don't know what to tell you. I was really hoping to die in the crash. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I remember them saying that. Like it's all a mental game. I don't know if they're just trying to like psych me.
Not a fan of either of those two teachers. So
I don't know if they're just trying to like psych me out or something and say like, no, it's fine. You can tread water this much. But like I think about that still.
If you were in the middle of the ocean.
And it's been over a decade.
Oh yeah. Well, if it was Miss Whita, she was our elementary school gym teacher.
Almost do. Not quite.
Not quite two.
But we're getting there.
We're pushing it.
Oh God.
I know the other day I was like, I think I've been out of high school for like 5 years, and then I was like, oh my God, it's been 7 years. And then I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, you're at 8. You're like nearly at a decade out of high school, and I'm also nearly at a decade out of high school.
So you're only 1 year off.
And that made me very sad.
Oh, so it's okay. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Because I remember when Zach hit 10 years out, and I'm like,
you're ancient.
Wow. And like Jake's gonna be 10 years out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm the year after, and then you're the year after that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna get older, so might as well embrace it. But
vomit.
That's true. I might do that too. Awesome. Well,
awesome.
All right, that brings us to the end of our first chunk of the episode. So, Hannah, I wanted to do a little bit of an Am I the Asshole for us.
Love that.
I can read you a couple. All of the ones I found, I specifically looked for Valentine's Day ones. Just to have a little bit of fun.
Yes, you're the asshole.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard them yet.
So this first one is, Am I the asshole for sending my girlfriend too many Valentine's Day flowers and making her sister's husbands look bad?
Okay.
All right. To explain where I'm coming from here, I need to establish two things. One, I have a high-paying job that often requires I drop everything to travel without notice. It is infuriating at times, but I get paid well, so I've learned to live with it. Two, my girlfriend loves flowers more than anything. I get it. Most girls love flowers, but they are her favorite thing in the world. She literally makes me stop the car when we're driving just so she can get pictures of pretty flowers. Early in our relationship, I had to miss out on something important without notice. To make up for it, I sent her 3 dozen roses.
Holy moly.
I know. She loved it and, probably as a joke, told me I had set the bar and I had better always send her 3 dozen roses if I was going to let her down.
Honestly, same.
No kidding. So we've been together for 3 years since then, and I have always sent 3 dozen roses whenever we would be apart. It's a tradition, and we both love it. Also, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with 36 fucking roses, but
decorating my house.
It'd be so nice. Anyways, if anyone wants to send me roses, that's fine.
36 dozen minimum.
36, not 36 dozen. 3 dozen.
3 dozen minimum.
Yeah, no kidding.
36 dozen would be wild.
I would.
I didn't even order that many roses for my wedding.
you would be able to decorate 2 houses with those. On to the dilemma. Girlfriend got bad news about a family member's health and headed back to her hometown a couple weeks ago. I couldn't join. Her 2 sisters came back as well with their husbands. Valentine's Day came around, and although it wasn't my fault we weren't together, I ordered a gift of 3 dozen roses, candy, and a stuffed animal. Day of, I got an alert from FedEx of a delayed shipment, and I panicked. It broke my heart to think that she wouldn't get any flowers that day, so I called around to local florists and found one who could deliver them for a fee. I sent another gift pack of 3 dozen roses.
We're at 6.
Turns out FedEx managed to deliver the original package, so girlfriend ended up with 6 dozen roses, 2 cards, 2 boxes of chocolate, and a teddy bear. She joked that now I had raised the bar and she expects no less than 6 dozen roses anytime we are apart.
Girl, same.
That's a lot of fucking roses. All jokes aside, I could tell she really appreciated the trouble I went through. The next day, I heard from her sister's husbands. They were furious with me, saying I made them both look awful. Turns out one bought his wife a leftover bouquet of half-dead tulips, and the other didn't get his wife anything at all. I guess they both were going to use the commotion as an excuse. My girlfriend ended up sharing her roses with both of her sisters so they could all feel special, but it was clear that they were all from me. My instinct was to take a victory lap, but girlfriend's mom and dad called and explained that they thought I should apologize. While they appreciate me always making romantic gestures, I can afford to do so while their other daughter's husbands can't. They see where things are going and assume we'll all be family soon, and it would be a good idea to make peace with the other 2. That's true in the sense that I really didn't mean to do anything to their detriment, but I also never expected them to be such shitty partners that they thought it would be okay to not even bring their wives flowers on Valentine's Day. But maybe I'm wrong for holding them to a standard that I've set for my own relationship. Am I the asshole?
Yeah, I don't think you're the asshole at all. I think that the other 2 are the assholes. Here's the difference. They've set this precedent within their relationship, right? They're not going out, at least from what we're getting from this post.
Right.
They're not going out bragging about anything within their relationship. That's just something, it's like this inside joke, this inside, like, care that they're showing to each other that they did it. Now, did I think he needed to send a second shipment? No, but I think the gesture of him doing it was coming out of a place of care.
Right.
It wasn't like he was trying to go above and beyond. He was just trying to make sure that, like, she's already in a really tough situation. We're apart. I want to make sure that you get them.
Right.
Like, I don't think he was doing it maliciously at all. And I don't think he was even doing it out of bad taste. I think it's just the fact that the other 2 didn't meet their wives' expectations. And the thing is again, I don't think it's the amount that matters. It's the gesture. If they would have gotten them nice bouquets of just 2 roses, or even 1 nice rose, but it was like a good gesture.
It's the rainbow rose from the guest.
Oh, God. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they were making a good gesture,
right,
this wouldn't have been an issue. It's not the amount. It's the thought.
Right. And that's where I was like, I could totally get, like, if you had, say, like, if those 2 husbands in their financial situation could get their partners a bouquet of, like, their favorite flowers. So tulips, daisies, whatever, roses, cool. And then you were like, well, I've got money, so I sent 6 dozen to the house that I knew you all were going to be at to be like, haha,
to make
look.
A statement or something.
Then I'd be a little bit like, ooh, no. Because, again, I think then you're kind of, like, in a weird way trying to be like, look at what I can do, look what you can't do. To me, it's like, it doesn't need to, I don't dislike roses, but they're not my favorite flower in the whole wide world. If someone was like, oh my God, I saw these really pretty daisies and thought of you, I'd be like, okay. Or sunflowers or lilacs.
Even if it was carnations.
Oh my God, I'd be like, that's so sweet. Like,
it's not about the flower. It's not about the money. It's the intent.
Right.
And I don't think he was getting that many to make like a I'm so rich.
No. And
point.
And it sounds like this is commonplace for them. Like, like you said, like they set up standard in the relationship that whenever he does have to go away, he gets her this 3 dozen of roses.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to be there, and he got an email saying delayed delivery. So he thought, oh my God, my girlfriend is separated from me from Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, she's not going to get a hello, a thank you, a fucking nothing.
Right.
So he was like, I'm just going to quick make sure she gets what I've promised to give her.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. It just so happened that like FedEx delivered.
Yeah.
And so she got an abundance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also shitty for her parents to call him and say like, you should apologize just to keep the peace.
That for sure. And it's like, it's almost one of those things where it's like, we don't want our other daughters to feel bad, so you have to fix this. And it's like, your daughters are not owed, none of them, including the one that did get it, 3 dozen roses. No one is owed some like extravagant lifestyle.
No.
Now, if they have the means to do that, and that's how they want to show their love, and it's between them, and it's not coming up from a place of like, I'm so much better than you. Like, by all means, that's your relationship.
Get to it.
And again, this is only one-sided. So,
but to me, it seems like
he doesn't seem like he has bad intentions.
the only people who were upset were the husbands.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're mad at someone else for raising the bar. Maybe you should take a little bit of an internal look and be like, why am I upset? Is it because he got them flowers and exposed that I was planning on not getting my wife fucking anything?
Right. Well, and the fact that he said that they messaged him and said that they were going to let the commotion just like slide it by.
He did have a question mark after that, so I don't know if like they said that or if he was like interpreting that.
Either way, like, I just think
it's shitty.
It's like those guys felt intimidated, like they were not living up to some standard that a different partner is giving to like their wives.
Right. And again, if like, I think it's one thing to be like a little bit like, oh shit, like I got my girlfriend or my wife 1 bouquet and she got 6.
Yeah.
Like then maybe I'd be like, sure, you tried to give a gift and maybe now you're feeling a little insecure about your paycheck or your whatever. But then again, it's time for you to take a look and be like, why am I insecure?
Well, and the difference is they didn't do that. Like, it's not like they tried and the wives were like, that wasn't good enough.
Right. It was like, there was no effort. And I don't even know if the wives said to them that wasn't good enough.
It's just them being self-conscious.
Right. So I think that's
deflecting the blame. It's somehow someone else's fault.
Absolutely. So that was the first story. And then I want to read you this one too. Because again, Valentine's Day. So this one goes, am I the asshole for not getting my wife anything for Valentine's Day?
Yes.
I'm in trouble this week and I'm not sure that I deserve to be.
Can I just start with one point before we move on? I hate when husbands are like, I'm just in trouble. Like they're a fucking child being scolded by their partner. But continue.
Well, this is lesbians, so I hate to break to you. No husbands involved in this.
Okay, fine. I still don't like that.
I don't like that mentality for anybody.
Yes.
But I, 35 female, did not get anything for my wife, 36 female, for Valentine's Day this year. Hear me out. I told her in August that since I was going to be unemployed and going to law school full-time for the next 3 years, that I wouldn't be getting her or anyone else presents in the next 3 years. Mentioned it to her multiple times. She was then kind of mad at me for not getting her anything for Christmas despite this. But she got over it rather quickly. Monday morning, I text her Happy Valentine's Day. She leaves for work before I get up. I did not get her any presents because I don't have any money. She got me a bag of jelly beans for Valentine's Day. I didn't need anything, but I thanked her anyways. She was very, very mad I didn't get her a gift for Valentine's Day. She said I could have gotten her a small gift or even homemade. I told her it didn't even cross my mind as I didn't have the money for the gifts, but I will do that in the future. I then made her a homemade card, but she said that it didn't count because she's had to ask.
Sorry.
She also knows I do not like Valentine's Day as it reminds me of when my school was shut up in 2008. I have had a cold all week and haven't been feeling well. She was still mad at me on Tuesday and reiterated the same points. It's now Thursday and she says she wants to forgive me, but is still upset and feels that me not getting her something means I don't care. I said I don't feel that I should have to apologize, as I told her I wouldn't have the money to get the gifts months ago. Am I the asshole? Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
I do think you're the asshole. Being thoughtful doesn't cost any fucking money.
I agree. Well, and sorry, you can finish. And then
No,
I'll
you're
make my
fine.
point.
I understand like setting a boundary and being like, hey, I am not getting you 3 dozen roses this year or for the next 3 years because I'm really not going to be able to afford it. And I understand that like there's going to be times where like you're going to be strapped for cash and it's going to be hard to do things. Take them on a date, a free date. Go to a picnic in the park with groceries you bought. You know, maybe you splurge a little bit when you go grocery shopping and get a $3 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And make them a card.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand, like, being in situations where it feels like you don't have the money or the finances to do something.
Yeah.
Even, like, you're telling me you couldn't wake up early and make them breakfast?
Well, and here's where I'm coming from. I think the mentality of like, okay, you are married to this woman.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that some of your finances are shared.
Right.
If she can afford to buy you a bag of jelly beans, you can afford to get her a card or buy the supplies to make her a card.
Right.
Or do something. Like, I think that not that gifts need to be equal.
Mm-mm.
And they won't ever be equal. But obviously, your wife was able to budget paying for the jelly beans when they're also helping you pay for, like, you to pay for, like, paying for things so that you can go to school and things like that. Also, like you said, there's so many gifts that cost zero money. The gift of your time, the gift of your attention, like, you can make them a card homemade. You could fucking go to the Dollar Tree
and get a 50-cent card
and do, like, get them a cup or get them a frame and print out a picture for 7 cents at Walmart. Like, there's so many different things that you could do that either it costs no money or very low amounts of money. And I think it comes down to you, like, if you are a couple that gives gifts, because I know some don't give gifts. But if you're a couple that gives gifts and you know that they're probably going to give you a gift, you need to put in some effort to show that you're caring. And by not doing that, you are disregarding their feelings.
Right. Well, to me, it's like, you know, I remember as a kid not having fucking money and doing those stupid little coupon books where it was like, coupon to spend 1 hour with me.
Yeah.
Coupon to watch whatever movie you want.
Rub my feet or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to rub your feet. I'm going to do a chore for you. I'm going to rake the leaves. I'm going to whatever. That would be so sweet. To me, it's like, if you want to do that, great. And if you're like, oh, that won't work. The fact that you, like, acknowledge that your wife leaves before you get up, you know, she leaves to go to work before you ever get up. Well, why don't today you get up with her and pour her coffee in the morning? She drinks
especially if they were that upset about Christmas.
Read the room.
Like, it wasn't that long ago that, like, obviously something happened over Christmas and you're aware that they were upset over Christmas. And then now a month and a half later, you just continue to not acknowledge their feelings and do something about it. So yeah, you're the asshole.
You are. And to be like, well, my school got shot up in 2008 around Valentine's Day. I am sorry. That is horribly tragic. It's an epidemic we're seeing in our country, and it's sad. That being said, you can't be like, well, I didn't get you anything because I haven't processed through trauma.
No.
Sounds like you need therapy.
And again, if that truly is that traumatic for you, you could do something to acknowledge her a different day.
Instead of the 14th of February, maybe the 13th.
Yep.
Or, you know, like saying, hey, I really hate this day. Like, can we, like, do something next week?
Yeah.
And I'm sure your wife would have been fine.
Yeah.
Also, he texted her Happy Valentine's. You can't call her.
Also, you're able to acknowledge that it was Valentine's Day by saying Happy Valentine's Day, but then buying the gift is what's traumatic.
Apparently.
Sounds like excuses to me.
Sounds like you just didn't.
And again, let's go back to this point of you saying that you're in trouble with your wife.
Yeah. You're not in trouble. You're not a child. You made your wife upset and she's having a valid reaction.
Yeah.
So let's start there. And then kind of moving from that, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I would have also been like, if I have to ask you for a card, it doesn't count.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
I made you the card after you asked.
And you made a big deal and you're upset about it. It's
Here.
like, no, that doesn't
make me, believe it or not, that does not make me feel better. I shouldn't have to beg you to show that you care enough about me to, like, think of me.
Yeah.
Gift giving is not my top acts of, like, love language. But, you know, if you were like, I saw gum and I remembered eating this as a kid and I thought of you, so I brought it home.
Yeah.
And it was 5 cents. I'm like, that is the sweetest gift I've ever received in my whole life. Because you thought of me.
Again, it could be homemade. You could pick them flowers on the side of the road. You could, like, there's so many things you can do that cost no money.
Cook them their favorite meal. Like, cook a tin of...
Organize their stuff for them. Do a chore for them at home. Like, something.
There's so many things you can do without spending money. And if you, as a couple, decided no one was doing gifts, that's one thing.
But it sounds like it wasn't decided. It sounded like it was one-sided of me saying, I'm just not going to get you anything for 3 years. And her having to just accept that because that's what you said.
Right. And
that doesn't count.
That's not a decision that you've made as a couple. That's a decision you unilaterally made.
Yeah.
And that isn't fair. So I do think you're the asshole. I think the first guy was not the asshole. Valentine's Day, people. Like, again.
It's coming up. Figure out what your partner or your friends or your mom wants.
Figure it out. And again, if you're like, I'm strapped for cash, homemade gifts are great. Thoughtful gifts can cost no money. Maybe you make a coupon book.
The gift of your time can be enough if you acknowledge that that's what you're doing for them. You can just awkwardly hang out with them and be like, what was your Valentine's?
My presence is the present. It's like, well, not always.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks, guys, for tuning in and listening to our podcast. If you liked what you hear, go ahead, like, share, follow us on X, Threads, or Instagram at IDon'tThinkSo_EH. Or feel free to check out our YouTube at IDTS Conspiracies. I have a feeling some more content will be coming that way at some point. So,
we'll see you over there later.
We'll see. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.